Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into the world of success. We'll be looking at Nigel Cumberland's 100 Things Successful People Do. But here's the twist. We're going to be analyzing a video script that breaks down Cumberland's book. It's like a meta-analysis of success strategies, you know? Should be pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, success, it's a very personal thing. What works for one person might not for another. So as we go through this, think about what success means to you and how these strategies might, fit into that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Not one size fits all, right? So one of the first things that really jumped out at me in this analysis was how much Cumberland emphasizes ambition. He doesn't just say, like, follow your dreams. He digs into this idea that ambition is like a driving force.
The engine that propels you forward. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's saying that you got to have that fire in you before you even begin. And it makes me think of Steve Jobs. I mean, the guy was incredibly ambitious, right? He knew exactly what he wanted and he went after it. Didn't matter if people doubted him.
Perfect example. It really shows the power of having a clear purpose. But here's something interesting. Cumberland doesn't just say, go, 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 hustle all the time. He actually spends a lot of time talking about rest and recharging. And the video script brings up some pretty shocking stats. Did you know that 50% of people in the UK aren't taking enough breaks?
Yeah, it's a problem everywhere, really, not just the UK. I think it's this always-on culture, We're constantly bombarded with information, always expected to be available. It's no wonder people are burning out.
It's exhausting.
It is. And Cumberland argues that rest is about more than just letting your body recover. It's about letting your mind and emotions recover, too.
Right. He makes this analogy in the book. He compares us to laptops. You can't run a laptop at full power all the time. Eventually, you got to recharge it. It's such a simple idea, but so true.
It is. And are you giving yourself that time to recharge? I mean, really recharge.
That's a good question.
Because if you're not, you can't expect to perform at your best, right? You get less creative, less productive, more likely to make mistakes.
Yeah, it's like trying to drive a car with no gas in the tank. And speaking of things that need to be topped up, let's talk about Cumberland's idea of financial mastery.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting.
Right.
Cumberland goes beyond the usual advice about budgeting and saving. He says that true financial mastery is about having a system that gives you, control over your money.
So it's not just about having money. It's about understanding how it works.
Exactly. It's about making smart decisions, not just about spending, but about saving and investing too. And it's about planning for your financial future, the long game.
This reminds me of a stat from the video script. 31% of people in the UK aren't saving any money. That's a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck with no real plan for what's next.
And that can be really stressful. Cumberland's point is that financial security isn't just about how much money you have. It's about peace of mind, knowing that you have a safety net if something goes wrong and having the freedom to pursue your goals without constantly stressing about money.
He talks about having a safety net, yeah.
Right.
And not relying on just one source of income. He encourages people to think about diversifying, building assets that generate passive income, that sort of thing.
Yeah, take control of your future.
Exactly. Now, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Yeah, it might seem a little out of place in a book about success.
It does, but this is where Cumberland's approach is really different. He sees forgiveness as self-care. It's not about the other person. It's about you.
It's about letting go of anger and resentment, those things that can really weigh you down.
He says forgiveness is a process. And it's not always easy. I mean, especially when you've been really hurt, the video script talks about how difficult it can be.
Yeah, but it's not about condoning what happened or forgetting. It's about freeing yourself from that pain and negativity.
He compares holding on to anger to drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It hurts you more than anyone else.
It does. So it's about acknowledging the pain, feeling those tough emotions, but then choosing to move on.
It is. It's a journey.
Have you ever struggled with forgiveness? It's definitely not easy.
It takes a lot of self-reflection, compassion.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, ready to tackle self-confidence.
Big one, right.
Huge.
And Cumberland's take on self-confidence might surprise you. He challenges this idea that it's about feeling superior to other people.
Yeah, sometimes we think confidence is about being arrogant,
Yeah.
or pushy.
Right, exactly.
But that's not it at all.
No.
What is it then?
Well, Cumberland says it's about knowing yourself.
Oh, self-awareness.
Yeah, understanding your strengths and weaknesses.
It's that quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're capable and worthy, regardless of what other people think.
Exactly. It's about recognizing your own unique abilities, what you bring to the table.
And that's something we can all work on,
Yeah.
right? It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing those imperfections and believing in yourself even when you mess up.
It's about being you, authentically you, without comparing yourself or needing someone else's approval. Have you ever thought about what it feels like to be truly confident? What were you doing? What was happening around you that allowed you to, feel that way?
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that confidence isn't something you're just born with. It's something you build over time.
Through experience.
Yeah.
Self-reflection.
Embracing those imperfections.
Exactly.
Okay. This next idea from Complan really hit home for me. Detaching from material possessions. What do you think?
This is where he gets you thinking. He challenges this idea that success is all about the stuff you own or the
Yeah.
status symbols,
Right. He's saying it's not about the car you drive
No, not at all.
or the size of your house.
It's about more than that.
He wants us to look at our relationship with all that stuff and ask, is it actually adding value to my life, or am I just trying to impress people?
It's a good question.
It is. And he even suggests that sometimes wanting more and more stuff can distract us from what's truly important, like our relationships, our passions, our purpose.
It's so easy to get caught in that cycle of wanting more, bigger, better.
It is. But Complan says that real fulfillment comes from within.
It's not about the stuff around you.
He encourages us to simplify our lives, to declutter, not just our homes, but our minds and emotions too. What are you holding on to that might be holding you back?
That's a great question. It really is.
It makes you think.
It does.
Okay, let's talk about growth. Complan is very clear that growing as a person, professionally or personally, often means being uncomfortable.
He has this interesting analogy. He compares personal growth to a lobster shedding its shell. The lobster needs to do it to grow, but it's not a comfortable process. It's vulnerable.
So he's saying if we want to reach our full potential,
We got to be willing to get uncomfortable.
exactly,
That's
we have
right.
to step outside our comfort zones. He wants us to figure out what our comfort traps are, the things we do or think that keep us stuck.
The things that stop us from growing.
Think about a time when you achieved something that really pushed you.
Hmm.
It probably wasn't easy, but the reward and the growth you felt were worth it, right?
Absolutely. It's about embracing the challenge, seeing those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
And this leads perfectly into Complan's view on failure.
Okay.
He doesn't see failure as a setback.
He doesn't.
He sees it as part of the journey to success.
Really?
What's really interesting is
Okay.
he encourages us to look at our failures as data. We learn from our mistakes.
That's true.
He says that real-world experience, even when you fail, is more valuable than just knowing stuff in theory.
Because that's how we develop resilience, right?
Exactly. We learn grit. We get a better understanding of ourselves and what we're capable of.
He asks a great question. What would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? It's about breaking free from that fear of failure and seeing what's possible.
It really makes you think about what you might be holding yourself back from. Okay. Let's shift to the people we surround ourselves with. Cumberland talks a lot about eliminating negative influences.
Yeah, that's so important.
He's not just talking about people who are obviously negative. He's talking about the subtle ways negativity can drain your energy and hold you back.
He calls them energy vampires, people who are always complaining, criticizing, doubting you.
Could be anyone.
Right, a friend, a family member, even a coworker, someone who just brings you down.
And it's not always negativity.
No.
Sometimes it's just someone who's constantly needing help.
Draining your energy.
Exactly.
And Complan's point is that it's crucial to set boundaries in those relationships.
It's about protecting yourself,
Yeah.
creating space for positive, supportive relationships to grow.
It's not always easy to distance yourself, especially from people you care about.
No, it's not.
But sometimes you got to do it for your own well-being, for your own growth.
So true. What can you do? What can our listeners do
Yeah.
to create a more positive, supportive environment for themselves?
It's something to think about for sure. And it actually connects to our next topic. The art of balancing planning with spontaneity.
Right.
Yeah.
This is where Complan gets into some practical advice about how to plan effectively
Okay.
while still being open to new opportunities. He believes that successful people find this balance,
Between being prepared and being flexible.
Exactly. He uses this great analogy. It's like having a roadmap,
Okay.
but being willing to take a detour if you discover something amazing along the way.
I like that.
Me too. As we've been talking about all this, I'm struck by how connected these ideas are.
Yeah.
It's like they all work together.
To create this framework for
Exactly.
a fulfilling and successful life.
And it's not about just picking one strategy and forgetting the rest.
No, it's about weaving them together.
Creating a life that reflects your values and what you want to achieve.
And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight.
No, it's a journey.
It's a journey.
Now, before we move on to our last topic for this section, I have to say I'm really enjoying how Complan brings together all these different concepts. He's showing us that success is about way more than just one thing. It's about a whole approach to life.
Yeah, it's holistic.
Exactly. It's about finding balance in everything. Work and rest, ambition and contentment, planning and spontaneity. And speaking of balance, our last topic for this part is living a life with fewer regrets. What does Complan have to say about that?
This is powerful.
Right.
He tells us to seize the day and make choices that align with our values and priorities.
It's about asking yourself what really matters, and then having the courage to go after those things with everything you've got.
The video script really emphasized this idea that so many people wait until it's too late. They wait to reconnect with loved ones, show their gratitude, to chase their dreams, and they end up with all these what-ifs because they let fear or procrastination hold them back.
That's such a powerful reminder that our time is precious. What are some things you've been putting off? Things you could start doing today to live a life with fewer regrets? It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day,
Yeah,
and forget what really matters.
it is.
Complan's message is really a call to action, to prioritize those things before it's too late.
Yeah, it even suggests writing down all the things you want to do, the things you want to experience, and then actually taking steps to make them happen, whether it's traveling, learning a new skill, or just spending more time with people you care about. It's about taking control of your time.
And it's like he's saying, don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start living the life you want now. It's inspiring, but it's also kind of scary,
It is.
It makes you really think about what's important.
It does. It makes you ask yourself, am I spending my time and energy on things that'll make me happy in the long run? Or am I just getting caught up in things that don't really matter?
That's a really good point. It's easy to get swept away by everything that's going on,
Yeah.
to lose sight of what you really want.
And Complan reminds us that we have the power to choose. We can set our own course. We don't have to just drift along.
We can be the captain of our own ship.
Exactly.
Love that.
And it's not about having some huge, impossible dream. It's about making small choices every day.
Little things that move you in the right direction.
Exactly, like saying no to something that's draining you or taking some time to work on something you're passionate about.
Those small choices add up, right?
They do. It's like a compound effect.
Right.
Making positive choices day after day.
It all comes back to taking control, which is something Complan talks about a lot.
It does.
He's not giving us some magic formula. He's giving us tools to take charge of our lives.
And to define what success means for us. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not about following someone else's definition. It's about figuring out what works for you, trying new things, learning from your experiences.
It's a process of evolution, I guess.
As we've been discussing these principles, I'm struck by how connected they all are.
Yeah, they all fit together.
Like pieces of a puzzle.
Create this
Framework. Yeah. It's not about just following one piece of advice and ignoring the rest.
It's about finding a balance.
Right. So, for example, if you want to follow your dreams, you need self-confidence. Right. And you need to be okay with failing sometimes. And if you want to grow, you have to step outside your comfort zone.
You have to let go of that need for material validation, all that stuff we talked about.
And if you want to live a life with fewer regrets, you have to make time for the things that matter.
Your relationships.
Yeah.
Your passions.
It's like a dance, pushing yourself, but also resting. Being ambitious, but also content. Planning for the future, but also being open to surprises.
And there's no one right way to dance.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you.
And constantly adapting.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to come back to that question we asked earlier. What do successful people avoid?
It's a different way of looking at it.
It is. It's like looking at the negative space in a photo.
And seeing something new.
Exactly. We don't know for sure what goes on in every successful person's mind. But based on what we've learned from Complan.
We can make some educated guesses.
Exactly. So, for instance, I bet successful people don't buy into this idea that you have to work all the time to be successful.
No, they prioritize their well-being, I think. They understand that you can't be productive if you're burnt out.
They know their limits?
Right. They probably aren't staying up all night, sacrificing their health just to get ahead. They know it's not sustainable.
And thinking about what Complan said about financial mastery, I'm guessing successful people don't spend money they don't have.
No, they're not racking up debt to keep up with the Joneses, that's for sure.
They probably focus on building long-term financial security, making smart investments, living within their means,
They know the difference between what they need and what they want.
and remembering what Complan said about following your dreams.
Okay.
I bet successful people don't let fear stop them.
They don't let fear hold them back from pursuing their passions?
Exactly. They're not letting self-doubt or what other people think dictate their lives.
They take risks.
They do. And when they fail,
They learn from it.
they see it as a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
And they probably don't surround themselves with negative people.
No, they have people who lift them up, who support them.
They understand how important it is to have a positive environment.
It's like they're creating a shield against negativity.
And building on that, I imagine successful people don't waste time comparing themselves to others.
No, they're focused on their own goals, their own journey.
They know everyone's path is different. They know that comparison can steal your joy.
And they don't procrastinate on their dreams. They take action.
Even if it's just small steps. They know that taking that first step is often the hardest, but also the most important. It's amazing to think about all the things that can happen when we focus on what we can do instead of what we're not doing.
It's about identifying the things that are holding us back. Bad habits, negative beliefs, even people. And then taking action to create space for something better.
Space for growth,
For joy.
for fulfillment.
Exactly.
And remember, success is not one size fits all.
No.
You get to define what it means for you.
And create a life that reflects that.
A life that feels authentic, that feels meaningful. This has been an incredible deep dive. We've talked about so much. Ambition, rest, forgiveness, self-confidence.
Financial mastery,
Mm-hmm.
detaching from material possessions, embracing the discomfort, and even failure.
And we even touched on what successful people might avoid doing.
It's a different perspective.
It is, and it gives us a lot to think about.
It does. What are those habits, beliefs, even people that are holding you back?
What can you let go of to create space for more joy and fulfillment in your life?
Great questions to consider.
We hope this deep dive is giving you some new insights, some inspiration to take action.
And remember, success is a journey. It's about constantly learning and growing.
And most importantly, it's about defining success on your own terms, creating a life that feels true to you. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
It's amazing how much just thinking about what successful people don't do can spark so many ideas.
It really is. Like, it's a whole new way of looking at it.
Exactly. So I'm thinking successful people probably don't waste time micromanaging everything.
Oh, for sure. They probably focus on the big picture, delegate, trust their team to handle the day-to-day stuff.
They free up their time and energy to focus on the things that really matter. And building on that, I bet they don't try to be everything to everyone.
No way. They know what they're good at, and they focus on that.
Which reminds me of what Complan said about eliminating negative influences.
Yeah.
I bet successful people don't dwell on negativity or get caught up in drama.
They probably cultivate a positive mindset. Focus on solutions, not problems.
Surround themselves with supportive people.
Exactly. It's like they're creating this buffer against negativity.
Protecting their energy.
Yeah.
And I bet they don't waste time comparing themselves to others.
No, they're too busy working on their own goals, celebrating their own wins.
They understand that everyone's journey is unique and comparison just leads to unhappiness. And thinking about Complan's emphasis on taking action, I'm guessing successful people don't put off their dreams.
They just go for it.
They do, even if they have to start small. They know that momentum builds momentum. That first step is the hardest, but it's also the most important.
It really is. And it's so inspiring to think about what's possible when we shift our focus, when we stop thinking about what we're not doing and start thinking about what we can do.
What can we start doing today to move closer to our goals? What habits can we change? What beliefs can we let go of?
Even what relationships can we reevaluate?
Exactly. It's about making space for growth, for joy, for fulfillment. And remember, success isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's about defining what success means to you.
What does it mean to you? What does that life look like?
Creating a life that feels authentic and true to who you are.
This deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
It really has. We've covered so much ground. From ambition and rest to forgiveness and self-confidence, we talked about financial mastery, letting go of material possessions, embracing discomfort and failure.
We even flipped the script and explored what successful people might actively avoid doing.
We hope this has sparked some new ideas and inspired you to take action, to create a life that you love, a life that feels successful and meaningful to you.
Remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
And it's a journey best taken with curiosity, an open mind, and willingness to embrace the unknown.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving to become the best version of yourself.